But listen, you know, we talked last week, and this touches on it, the voice thing you mentioned before. We talked about how the government, how the Liberal Party, the opposition, could win another campaign, and maybe the election, by doing the same sort of campaign against the government's green energy revolution in the same areas, working class, outer suburbs, country, using the same pitch against the elites that it did to defeat the Voice. And today, I was amazed. The Essential poll, which is a left-wing organisation, they did a poll. They found a rise in support for the Liberals' campaign for nuclear power, for nuclear power, now 50% support against 33% against. That's the government's position, against. I mean, I'm stunned that the public is swinging so hard towards nuclear power and in revolution, I think, against the government's green energy fantasy. What do you make of all this?
Well, I'm not stunned at all, Andrew, and that number will go higher. It will also hit 60-40 in favour of nuclear before the next election. The reason being, I argued with you that on this show that if you took every single cultural issue, every single one of them, and held a referendum on them, you would get that same 60-40 split everywhere apart from Canberra, of course, which would be the other way around. And that would, every cultural issue, you name it, you would get at least a minimum of 60-40. If it was the transgender, gender fluidity issue, it would go through up to the 90s. But on nuclear and climate change, it's a solid 60-40, I would argue, easily, because the more information that the coalition puts out there, as they did with the Voice, the more information smart Australians who aren't necessarily politically engaged, who used to trust Labor and political parties, but are now seeing that Labor is completely untrustworthy, they would look at the facts and go, oh, here's another con job by that same Labor government, that same
Correct.
Albanese and those clowns who tried to pull the wool over our eyes over the Voice. They're at it again. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes on wind farms up and down our coast outside New South Wales, Port Stephens. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes with transmission lines throughout our beautiful, great farming lands. They're trying to pull out the wool over our eyes on every single cultural issue. And Australians are not morons. Australians will not vote for this Labor government at the next election if the Liberal Party fight on every single one of these cultural issues, Andrew. I guarantee it.
Yes, and it's all to prosecute a left-wing, inner-urban religious spasm, and it's got to be fought. Rowan Dean, thank you for your time.